Get ready for a powerhouse of inspiration. Principal Baruti Kafele. A highly regarded educator and a transformational leader, Principal Kafele has spent over 20 years in New Jersey's urban schools, making a lasting impact as both a master teacher and a turnaround principal. Under his leadership, the mighty Newark Tech transformed from a low-performing school to one of America's best, as recognized by U.S. News and World Report 3 times. A recipient of the prestigious Milken Educator Award, Principal Kafele is one of the most sought-after voices in school leadership and equity. He's delivered over 3,000 keynotes, workshops, and seminars across the nation, authored 13 books, including 7 ASCD bestsellers, and continues to empower leaders through his live-streamed AP and New Principals Academy. Please join us in welcoming the extraordinary Principal Baruti Kafele.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to week 275 consecutively of the AP and New Principals Academy. Let me see who we got checking in this morning. We got Nadira Coley, North Brick City in the building. We got Elisa Rivera down in up in Rhode Island. We got Yolanda McKinney. Good morning to you down in Texas. We got Rella Hicks in Augusta, Georgia. We got the good doctor, Rachel Edoweckett, who is now officially the president of the Maryland Association of Elementary School Principals. That's a big deal. Give her some emojis. She's president of the Maryland Association of Elementary School Principals. She's fam. Give her some emojis, y'all. Clap her up. That's a big deal. We got AP, Patrick Lawrence in the building, Connecticut. Constance Sherrod, Pearl, Mississippi. Dr. Sonia Matthew, the Maryland Assistant Principal of the Year. I think I may have announced that last week, but I may not have. But again, the Maryland Assistant Principal under NAESP Assistant Principal of the Year. She's fam, but she's also been a guest. She's coming back on as a guest, as well as Dr. Rachel Edoweckett. So clap Sonia Matthew, Dr. Sonia Matthew up as well, right? We got fam on here doing big things. I'm not taking any of the credit. I'm just proud that they're part of the fam, right? Takesha High, Virginia. Ronald Pugh, Cedar Hill, Texas. Grace Castaneda, Kyle, Texas. Michael Benton, Cincinnati, Ohio. Rodney Richardson, Hampton, Virginia. Robin Snowden, Harambe, Fresno, California. Chancellor Davis, Las Vegas, Nevada. Lysandra Brackens, North Carolina. Vanessa Zeskin, Connecticut. Rod Laws, Hotep and Harambe, Greenville, North Carolina. I drove through there the other day, but didn't stop through. Marsha Poe, San Diego, California. All you West Coasters, I appreciate y'all getting up early. Stacy Joy, Los Angeles, California. LaKenya Rowland, Jersey. In Jersey, we got some nice weather too, man. The high today is supposed to be 79, right? That's good because that heat wave, I wasn't really here for a lot of it, but, I got like a day of it in the weekend. It was brutal. Dr. Roz Gaskins, I see you in Prince George County, Maryland, this week. I think it's Wednesday. I think I don't have my calendar in front of me, but I see you there. I'm looking forward to just being in the space with all the leaders in the district there. Melissa Jones Chunu, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Dot McKeever Jeters in Calumet City, Illinois. Tony McClenny, Battle Creek, Michigan. I'm going to be in Battle Creek this week. I don't know if you're part of that leadership team, but I'm going to be there on Thursday. David Bell, matter of fact, so now I know Prince George's County, that'll be Wednesday. And then Battle Creek, Thursday. That's what it is. Annette McMahon, Illinois. The queen of the castle. Good to be back in the castle, too. We'll talk about that in a minute. Kimberly Broughton, Kafele. Doc McKeever, I said it already. Nisha Jacko, good to see you, Doc. She's been a guest here, Anisha Jacko. It's been a while. Probably be back at some point, but she's right in the city. We got Arcella Austria in the building. Dina Freeman, Tula, Mexico. You on vacation? Because I know you don't live in Mexico. So good to see you and enjoy Mexico. Where we at? Where we at? I'm getting ready to wrap it up, y'all. We got a lot to do today. Sherry Jones, Missouri City. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? I can't find nobody. I got everybody. Sheikah, there's Dr. Sheikah Houston. And speaking of Dr. Sheikah Houston, she is one half of Create and Educate with Dr. Tammy Taylor, right? So that's 10:30 every Saturday morning. And then they're preceded by Sean Hurt, who's taking care of them father duties today. I think his son has a basketball game, so, he's a basketball player. His kid's a basketball player, so he's at a game supporting his son. So he'll be back next week, right? And then us at 10:55, and then Josh Tovar, Dr. Marty Moreno, and on Sundays at 5 Eastern. But Dr. Sheikah Houston will be filling in for Marty tomorrow as a co-host. So you don't want to miss that. Right. That's tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern. I see Jacqueline Harriet in the building. Every time I see Nova Scotia, Jacqueline, I get nervous, man. I'm nervous about that trip I got coming up in late August, man. Every time I see your country there, when I see your province there, I'm like, oh God. And I still haven't booked. I don't even know how I'm gonna get around. Flight, car service. I don't know what it is, but I'm just anxious about whatever it is, because I don't land until like midnight, and then I gotta get from there to, I think it's called Truro. That's a 6-hour drive, right? After midnight, right? So let me scroll your name up so I don't have to look at it. John Herricks, I see you. Denton, Keisha Austin in Chicago. Let me end it with my main man Ricardo Giannis down in Texas. We gonna stop it right there, because I need to get going. We got a lot to talk about today. We got a heck of a lot. So let me say to everybody formally now, good morning, greetings, welcome to week 275. What's that word? Consecutively of the AP and New Principles Academy. Hey, y'all, I'm so locked into saying what I said I'm not going to say, but how you feeling? I'm gonna leave it there. We ain't gonna get into the politics of the previous week. Just how you doing? How you feeling? And I hope everybody's feeling good. I hope you're feeling rejuvenated. I hope that if you're returning to school in terms of students this week, then I wish you an extraordinary year, and thereby hope that you're really on top of your game, that you're really feeling good, you're vibrant, you're ready to go, right? You got that excitement, that enthusiasm, that energy, and you're ready to go. That matters, right? Let me get my announcements in, and then we'll get to this topic today. First, shout out to Newport News Public Schools administrative team, man. I spent the morning with them in Newport News, Virginia this week, and just had a blast. Had a blast with the folks, man. Just had a blast. The hospitality was awesome. Just a lot of fam in the room of the AP and New Principles Academy. So, shout out to Newport News. And then the damper was sitting in the airport on a delay all day. But that's the world we live in right now. And enough said on that. And then shout out to North Carolina Principals and Assistant Principals Association in Raleigh at North Carolina State University. Oh man, we spent the entire day. Just this was all they call it early career principals. So these were 1 to 3 years principals. About 200 in the room, I think, something like that. And we just spent the whole day talking leadership, primarily instructional leadership, but not limited to instructional leadership, just talking leadership. Me just addressing things that I think someone in their first, second, or third year needs to hear, or me responding to a lot of their questions or comments about their leadership. So shout out to them. If any of you are on right now, shout out to you, and that's including Newport News administrators. If any of you are on right now, or will see the video later, shout out to all of you. What a day. What a 2 days with the two of you. But then there's another day. Yesterday, Hamilton County Schools, Chattanooga, Tennessee. What a convocation. They got 5,500 employees, and they were all in this big room at this convention center. And then I did 5 breakout sessions on leadership, man. It was man, that's some work when you stopping and going. That's different from when you just flowing from 8 to 4, 9 to 3, whatever it is. That's a different kind of stamina that you got to have when you stopping, and then a whole new crew comes in. But some of them crews, some of them folks just stayed the whole 5 sessions. So that was a blessing too. But shout out to Hamilton County and my man, Dr. Stewart, Marquise Stewart. He's been a guest on here as well, and he's been instrumental in me coming there. Him and others on the team coming there twice now this year. So good stuff. So shout out to them, and we got another dynamite week coming up. We got 5 states coming up this week. Pray for me on that one, because I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I mean, the speaking part, I could do it. I'm concerned about the travel part, getting from one state to another, right? I don't want to be driving all night, man. But pray for me. Hey, y'all, let's go. Welcome to the first timers. But if this is in fact your first time, that means you've missed 274 sessions. So what you do is you go to the AP and New Principles Academy YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. Once again, hit the subscribe button. One more time, hit the subscribe button. Then once you hit that, another button is going to pop up called notification bell. Hit that too. And then that way you'll be notified whenever I go live, which is only on Saturdays at 10:55 Eastern time. I don't use this. I have other channels, but this is the only one I use at this time, right? So, but you may need a reminder, right? You may have a tough week at school and need this as your source of rejuvenation, or as your source of realignment, right? Or your source of just let me get myself back in focus, right? That's what this is for, right? So I want to make sure you don't miss any of these. So make sure you subscribe, and then hit the like button while you're subscribing, right? Hit the share button while you're on with me live, right? That activates the algorithm. So again, like, even if you dislike, just like it anyway, right? And then hit the share button. The other platforms, hit the repost, the retweet, the share, whatever they call them these days, right? Just let other people know, text somebody, tag somebody, call somebody, whatever it is, but just let folks know we are here and we are live and we are providing this invaluable information. It's selling, man. It's just incredible, the number of school districts that are buying this for the entire leadership team, right? If you don't have a copy, get yourself a copy. What is my value instructionally to the teachers I supervise? The content in terms of being able to deliver it's I quantified it at about 30 hours, right? Take me 30 hours to deliver everything that's in this book. So I'm never going to speak somewhere for 30 hours unless they keep inviting me back. But here, you got it all in the book to use as a book, but also to use as a reference, right? So it's not something you read and then put up on the shelf. It's something you read and then you go back and read it again. Then you go back and you go to the chapters that are most relevant toward ensuring that you are that instructional leader that your teachers need you to be, and that your children, your students, your scholars need you to be as well, right? Enough said. By the way, I've been rocking these Negro League t-shirts and summer wear all summer. I'm wearing my Homestead Grays, Josh Gibson, and I even got the hat. Now the style, somebody might say, man, his hat is small. Nah, that's what they wore back in them days, man. Not them nice hats that you see now. This is the old school joint. So I said, let me throw this on since I have the matching hat that goes with this shirt, right? So here we are. Hey, y'all, let's jump into the monologue, and then we'll get into the heart of today's message. But the monologue, my topic is, your leadership is the number one determinant of your school's success or failure. Let me hit you with that one more time. Your leadership is the number one determinant of your school's success or failure. Let's talk about it. Before I even get into the meat of the presentation, and we'll keep it short, I'm gonna try. Let's just talk about that title. If my old intro to this platform was my old closing, to a keynote, which was, I am the number one determinant of the success or failure of my school. I don't do it anymore, man. It was too much energy. They're gonna send me to the hospital. So, but the wording is still relevant. So I'm saying your leader. I'm not saying you, the leader. I'm saying your leadership is the number one determinant of the success or failure of your school. And what I mean by that is everything that happens in the building, I mean everything, is a result of your leadership. Everything that happens in the building, there should be a correlation between your leadership and it, which is inclusive of the classroom itself. Right? So as we talk about instructional leadership. So there's a correlation. So when you walk your building or just think about your building, just imagine your building, envision your building and all the aspects, all the components of your building. You can't think of them in isolation from your leadership, because everything that happens in your building, there's some kind of correlation. I want to give you this extreme example. When I was a middle school principal, I had a roofing problem. And when it rained, there would be leaks in, I would say, 80% of the classrooms. So being this brand new principal, there was a time when in my mind, that's not on me, that's on maintenance. So, but maintenance wasn't getting it done. And then they were bringing in folks, professionals, and they weren't getting it done. I began to own that. And I became a squeaky wheel. I became a pain in the behind of the superintendent, people in the superintendent's office, all the way to the maintenance department. Guess what? That roof got fixed properly, because it wasn't like the attempt wasn't there. The attempt was there, but it wasn't happening. But in the meantime, I started to learn things about roofing. I'm learning all this infrared stuff in terms of how they're identifying where the leaks are. And now I said, those leaks, when I walk into those classrooms and see that water dripping in those buckets, first, that just the sight of that alone, that's a reflection of my leadership. Even though it's not my fault that the roof is leaking. That's a reflection of my leadership, that I'm walking around the building and I see students sitting in classrooms with water leaking from the roof, and they're sitting in coats because with the water coming in, it's cold and all that kind of stuff. So I said, nah, that's on me. I'm going to stay on whomever to make sure that this problem disappears. Now, the school still exists. That's 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. 2002, that was in 1999, 2000. I don't know if those leaks are still there, but I do know this. They disappeared during my tenure. See, I accepted accountability. I accepted responsibility. The leaks there was a correlation between my leadership and those leaks, right? That's the point I'm making. So with this topic of your leadership is the number one determinant of your school's success or failure, I got these 10 points that I wanted to share with you. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because I got so much to talk about in the body of the message today. But I want to give you these 10 things to just consider. It's not a comprehensive list. There's so many other things to consider when you talk about whether or not your leadership is in fact the number one determinant of your school's success or failure. But I want you to really zero in on these 10. Let me give them to you. You know what my number one is. If you've been rocking with me, if you know my work, then this should be predictable in terms of my number one. My number one, instructional leadership, right? So what is, without me going into a whole message of instructional leadership or any of these 10 points, what is the level of instructional leadership under your leadership? That matters. Enough said. Number two, building collegial relationships in your building, inclusive of the functioning of your professional learning communities, PLCs. What is the level of collegial relationships, your relationships, your relationships with staff, your relationships with your administrative team, your staff's relationships with one another, right? What is the level, the quality of those relationships under your leadership? Imagine when those relationships either don't exist, or they're toxic, or they're counterproductive, right? Then where's the collegiality? Where's the collegiality? And I was going to do something. I'll do it later. Let me stay focused. So where's the collegiality there? That matters. But it's a reflection of your leadership, right? Number 3, purposeful leadership. I'm giving you these 10 points that I want you to just keep right here and right here, as it relates to your leadership going into this new school year. So are you just walking into the building and reacting and responding to whatever the stimuli is that you're confronted by? Or is your leadership purposeful? Is there a purpose, a reason, a because that drives your leadership? That matters, right? And again, I'm not going in depth with any of these because each of these is a topic unto itself. Number 4, school brand, school mission, school vision, school objectives, right? Are they clear to everybody that breathes air in your building? Not just your teaching staff, but everybody that breathes air in your building. Is the brand of the school in terms of what you intend for it to be? You know, that's a whole lecture in terms of the difference between brand identity and brand image, which I'm not going to get into here because it's in several videos that you can go to YouTube on this channel and you can go back and review them. But here, what I'm saying, is it clear who we are, like what we're repping, right? I'm like right now, I'm repping the AP and New Principals Academy, and I'm never going to present myself in a way that deviates from the brand that has been created, right? And I'll leave that right there. So the brand of your school, the mission of your school, the vision of your school, the objectives of the academic objectives of your school, are they known by everybody, and are we walking in them regularly? That matters. We're talking about your school is the number one, your leadership is the number one determinant of your school's success or failure. Number 5, school climate and culture. Has your leadership fashioned into shape a complete staff that's lockstep with the culture that you've conceptualized, the climate that you've conceptualized that will allow us to meet the objectives that we have set? Because as I always say, a school's culture is a direct reflection of the leadership in the building, period. Number 6, accountability and responsibility. With your leadership, are you willing to accept accountability? Are you willing to accept responsibility? That matters. If you just pointing the finger at everybody else, but you can't accept your own accountability, you can't accept your own responsibility, you have work to do with this person, right? The one in your mirror. You can't just hold others accountable, but there's no accountability for you. That's self-accountability, right? That's self-responsibility. That matters. Number 7, planning and organization. Are you walking into the school just showing up? Or do you have a plan of action, which we're going to talk about today? Do you have a plan to drive your every movement in that building? And are you highly organized, structured? Or you kind of all over the place, right? See, you can't be. You got to be organized, and you got to walk in there with a plan every day. But we're going to talk about that. I don't need to go any further right here because that's the topic of our discussion. Number 8, professional learning for the leadership. Hey, leader, are you learning? Are you engaged in learning something you don't know? Or are you engaged in having reinforcing that which you know, but hearing it from different perspectives, different people, right? But is learning an inherent part of your leadership? You can't graduate from grad school in 2000 and rely on that up to this day in 2025. The grad school got you in, and it gave you a foundation. but you got to be a reader. You got to be a learner. It's not just reading. It's just all the facets of learning. You've got to engage because you've got to stay current in your leadership. As the world changes, as the world evolves, you can't remain static in what you do, right? You got to make sure that you are learning, you are learning, you are learning. Number 9, professional learning for staff. Is that a part of your repertoire as well, that you're ensuring that staff is learning? And I don't mean that you're saying the right things at the staff meeting or the bulletin. I mean that you're engaging staff in the learning. Like maybe you're doing the book study with them, right? You know, whatever it is. Maybe you're going like it's such a beautiful thing when you go to a conference and there's the principal with the whole team. I was at when I was at the United Conference in Seattle. Superintendent Sean Smith, who's the superintendent of Lawrence Township Metropolitan School District in Indianapolis, Indiana. He doesn't know this yet, but he'll be on here too, probably in like February. I didn't even tell him yet, but I already got it written down in my notes that I need him on here. So when I saw him, I was on my way to get dinner, and he was on his way probably to get dinner in a different location, but we ran into each other. He had all the elementary principals with him, right? All the elementary principals were with him when we ran into each other in Indianapolis, right? See, it's a beautiful thing when the learning is not like the leadership is not on one side and the staff is somewhere else, and we learning in isolation from one another. So when I did my session, he brought all those principals in my session with him so that they could all hear the same thing at the same time from me, right? At the United Conference in Seattle about 2 weeks ago. So that professional learning from staff for staff has to be a priority. And then the last one, parental and community engagement, right? To what extent is parental and community engagement a priority of your leadership? And as a matter of fact, let me backstep, man, because I'm talking about someone that a lot of y'all don't know when I said Sean Smith, Dr. Sean Smith, but I got somebody on the screen that you do know that did the same thing. Principal Annette Faison, who came to my School Leadership Institute in Raleigh, North Carolina, and brought the team. How many did she bring? 14. Yeah. She brought 14 people with her to my institute. So it wasn't, she could have come by herself. Like, okay, principal, I'm a fan of the principal of the AP New Principals Academy. Let me go on to the academy for a couple of days and learn from Principal Kafele. She said, nah, let us go to the academy and learn from and with Principal Kafele. See, that's different. I see you, Dr. Tammy Moy Johnson and Dr. Sheikah Houston. That's what she did, right? So Tammy Moy Johnson is my partner in that institute, right? So we actually saw that ourselves. We experienced it ourselves. So I'm saying all that to say, again, the parental and community engagement, how the community side I didn't even talk about, but how you engage the community so that you're not an island unto yourself, but you are a part of a larger community. You're part of them and they're part of you. So that's my monologue. All of these 10 points, they're not comprehensive. They're just 10 points that I feel are salient, that you need to give a lot of energy to as you move forward in the school year. So take those 10, embrace them, own them, claim them, make them a part of your leadership. But what I didn't talk about, those other aspects, make them as well. But don't sleep on these 10, right? Enough said. Let's go, y'all. I got a lot to talk about today, man. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Hit that share button, repost button, retweet for those of you who haven't moved on from Twitter and you still calling it retweet, right? So hit the retweet button if that's what you still call it, right? They call it repost now, I think. But let somebody know we're here. We are here. Let them know. And hit up those Facebook leadership groups. Let them know we're here. Text your buddy, your colleague, whomever it is. Let them know we gonna be on here for a little while. I'm gonna try not to do 2 hours though. I'm solo, so why should I have to go that long, right? I'm gonna do half of this in some of this in just talking in my camera, and then I'm gonna do another half in PowerPoint, right? So have your phone ready to take pictures of. Well, no, you don't have to take pictures. Just screenshot on your computer or your phone, whatever it is, and get this information. Or some of you might be old school like me, so have this ready. and just take some notes, man. We're going to talk about this plan. I see you, Jim Spore. This is one of my high school classmates back in the 70s, and also my basketball teammate. He said, get up here to Northern Michigan when you can get a chance, when you need to decompress a bit. Yeah, man, y'all, I haven't seen this young man since, I'm calling him young man. He's probably a year older than me. I'm 64. He's probably 65, or either he's still 64. But I haven't seen him in so long, but we have stayed connected on social media. That's the beauty of social media, when you can stay connected to people that you knew when you were a teenager or even less, right? So good to see you, Spore. Hey, and we'll connect, like I told you in the inbox. Hey, y'all, let's go. Today's topic. Let's talk about your leadership plan for the new school year. That's my topic. Let's talk about your leadership plan for the new school year. I want to preface it this way. This is a continuation of my previous 2 solo sessions in May and June, right? No, let me take that back. June and July, right? This is a continuation of what I did in June and July. So I want to implore you, if you didn't see those sessions, I want you to, when you get a chance, go back to session number 267 and 271. In order for today's 275 to really gel, to really crystallize, you got to go back to 267 and 271. And then I'll add to that, it would be good if you went back and reviewed some of Sean Hurt's content throughout the summer, because he's been giving, particularly starting in July, right? Because he's been giving so many tips toward the launch of the school year. So go back and check out some of Sean, which is 10 o'clock every Saturday morning live, but you can go to Sean Hurt on YouTube and binge watch the July sessions. His sessions are shorter than mine. He's only on for 30 minutes, right? I'm on, we on all day, right? 2 hours. I'm trying not to do 2 hours today. But anyway, and then watch those, and then this will make that much more sense. But on last week, the past 2 weeks, I gave you an assignment. You'll recall, I said compile a list of all of your wins. So you reflect back on the entire the entire last year. I'm trying not to say years, because I don't want people like next year, like years from now, and they see this video and it's got the dates on it and they say, oh, that's old, I ain't watching that. Nah. So I'm trying not to say years. So when you reflect back on your last school year, I want you, I'm hoping that you came today. That was my assignment to you. The professor gave an assignment today over the summer. I wanted you to compile a list of every area where you felt you were proficient, your wins. But then I wanted you to compile a list of all the areas that you felt, I didn't win here. These were losses, or these were deficiencies, right? I said, I want you to put that together. And then I said, I want you to compile a list of all of the places, all of the things where you feel you need to make a pivot, right? Where you need to step away and do whatever this is that you were doing differently, right? So some things we can get better at, some things they just don't work anymore. So we pivot, right? So because now I want to show you how you can put all of that into a document. So that's why I wanted you to compile that. So if you didn't see those sessions and you're hearing this for the first time, now you heard it. In order to make this make sense, I would like for you to compile your wins, your losses, and the areas you need to make a pivot. You don't have to memorize that just yet, because I'm gonna be saying it again when I go PowerPoint. So with that said, my objective today is for you to put all of that into what I'm calling your leadership blueprint. But I want to go over something else as I think about what you compiled before I get into the PowerPoint. There's an expression that you hear me use if you're on this platform regularly, or if you see me live. I don't go anywhere without saying this. I say, I want to see the leadership without having to see the leader, right? Again, I want to see the leadership without having to see the leader. What do I mean by that? I mean, I don't want to see you. I want to be able to see when I walk into a building in my consultant hat, not my speaker hat, presenter hat, but my consultant's hat. I just want to walk in there and I want to see you without seeing you. So in other words, you, the leader, you're there, but you're invisible, because everything about this building, I mean everything, the walls, the floors, the ceilings, and then all the other tangible things that are happening and intangible things that are happening, that's you. So I want to see your leadership, but I don't need you walking with me. I don't need you beside me. You could go do whatever you do. Let me roam the building by myself. See, and I just want to take it all in. I want to see your leadership without you being next to me and possibly influencing what I'm seeing. No, I want to walk that building without you next to me, right? And then I really know who you are. See, I don't know who you are when you're telling me all the right things. I know who you are when you're not present relative to your leadership. So that's what I want to be able to see, right? So I want to see the leadership without having to see the leader. So what do I mean by that? I got a few bullet points. Let me try to give you these without commentary, because I want you to incorporate this into your blueprint that we're going to develop today. So in other words, when I'm walking that building, number one, I'm asking myself, like I'm literally asking myself questions as I'm trying to identify the leadership without having to see the leader. So I'm asking myself, what's happening between the time, this window of time of student arrival and the first lesson? Secondary school, the first period. So I've talked about this on this platform before, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. But that window of time between when students arrive and the first lesson begins, that little window of time can make, let me get that right, there we go, can make or break a day. It can make or break a day. Man, that's hard because it's everything's reversed, right? It can make or break a day. Oh, I got it. Look at my hands instead of the screen. There you go. There you go. Right? It can make or break a day. So I'm saying to you, as I walk that building, I'm watching to see what is going on. Like, what are students doing during that idle time? Because that time can be idle. So are there systems in place, structures in place, procedures in place, processes in place that time frame doesn't become counterproductive, right? That's number one. Number two, what was the principal's message to the school this morning? I'm not even going to tell the principal I'm waiting for a message. I just want to see, what will the message be, right? Is there going to be a message? And a lot of times people ask me, like, do I need to script the message? Nah, why are you going to script the message? That's your family. You need, when you talk to your children, do you script your message first and then you talk to your children? I'm talking about your children in your home, your biological, your adopted, whomever your children in your home. Well, or your children in your life, right? They may not be in your home. Well, your children in school are your children too. You need to script a message before you talk to them. If so, that's a problem. You need to be able to walk in that building, take that mic, let's use this, take that mic and go buck wild. If you got to have notes that you wrote, okay, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that, that's not coming from the heart, man. You rehearse that. When I talk, see, certain things, yeah, I understand certain things need to be scripted. I understand that. But when I take that mic to talk to my students in the morning, we're talking authenticity, baby. We're talking whatever's up here and whatever's in here. That's what I'm going with, right? And I don't care how long it takes. My teachers will tell you that, but I try to keep it locked into 3 minutes. But sometimes I have a little bit more, right? But you can best believe, unless one of my students gave me like a one-liner topic, Kafele, Miss Kafele, could you address this? Because they would do that sometimes. Could you talk about this? And I would turn. But once again, I didn't like, they would say that to me 60 seconds before I went on the mic. So it wasn't like I had time to script it. It's like they give me one sentence. All right, thank you. I'm getting ready to let it rip. And that's what I would do. I don't know if that's like a gift. I don't know. I would rather think it's just, I know my student population, so I know what they need to hear. Yeah, Dr. Houston, that 3 minutes. If my teachers are on here, they'd be like, you know, you lying. It was hard, man. I tried, but you know, it was hard. Yeah, so that's that. Let me go. What is it about the culture of the school that increases the probability for high academic performance? So when I'm walking around, I just want to take in the culture, right? I just want to take in the culture. I don't want the leader with me. Let me just take in the culture, right? Number 4, what is it about the climate of the school that increases the probability that everyone in the building feels emotionally safe? So again, I'm roaming that building by myself, and I want to just take in the climate, the mood of that building, the mood of the hallways, the mood of the bathroom, right? The mood of the building overall. I just want to take it in, because if the mood is counterproductive, if the mood is toxic, then there's probably a lot of toxicity throughout that building, right? And there's probably a lot of flaws within that leadership, right? Because again, that culture, that climate are a direct reflection of that leadership. There's a correlation between the leadership and the culture climate of the building. Make no mistake about it, right? Number 5, can one sense the mission and the vision of the school without having to read them? That's a big one. Like I don't expect that now you can recite verbatim the mission and the vision of the school because you've walked through and taken in what's happening. But I'm saying, can you sense like estimate that I think I have an idea of who they are, right? Their mission, their vision. That's what I mean, right? Number 6, is the level of positive energy high in the school. I mean, you don't have to walk very far to know that. And when I say the level of positive energy, I mean good energy, right? Is that energy high in the building? Good energy. Like, this is an upbeat place. This is a place we excited, man. We want to be here, right? This is our school. And and this is the place that takes us from point A to point B. This is the place that builds us, evolves us into who and what we're going to become. Is that energy high in that building in that regard, within that framework? Number 7, is the level of staff morale high in the school? Again, I can gauge that just walking around, man, just seeing how they relate to one another, how they speak to one another, or the lack thereof, whatever it is. You can gauge staff morale in a very short period of time, right? Particularly between classes. Number 8, is the school a clean environment for learning? I don't have to walk too far for that one, right? I've been in some filthy places, right? See, even though the principal, the administration is not the one that threw all the paper in the garbage, the potato chip bags, everything on the floor, there's no culture there for cleanliness. That's the problem, right? I know it's not the leadership doing it. I know it's not the teachers doing it, but there's no culture there for cleanliness, where the student automatically will either, 1, not throw it down, or number 2, if they see trash, they just pick it up, right? Among the other aspects of cleanliness, right? Next one. I'm going quick because I want to get to my PowerPoint. Number 9, how are assistant principals being utilized? And what is their level of leadership exposure beyond discipline, cafeteria duty, and bus duty? So again, as we're going to develop this blueprint, these are things I want you to think about, right? In terms of your wins, your losses, or or said differently, areas of proficiency, areas of deficiency, and then areas that you need to make a pivot, right? So if you're a principal, how are you using your assistant principals? Are you using them in the truest sense of what an assistant principal should be relative to job description? Or has this person been reduced to an overpaid dean of students, right? A disciplinarian, right? That matters. That matters. Yeah, there you go, Miss Alicia Scott. No, that's not the right person. Toya Algarin, pride in your school. So when y'all got that pride in my school, I'm not going to let it be a filthy pig pen. I'm going to pick up, even if I'm not the one that made the trash. I see trash. I'm going to pick it up. And I love when I saw students do that when they walk past it. Students, teachers, whomever, administrators, certainly myself, right? But the good thing is it wasn't too much to pick up, because that was part of the culture of the building. Let's go. Number 10, is the overall leadership of the school evident? That's self-explanatory. Is your leadership evident in that building? Number 11, is we're going up to 14. Is the overall management of the facility evident? You know, I say often, they're leaders. You know, it's sexy now to say, I'm not a manager, I'm a leader. And every time I hear that, which is often, I say, okay, I hear you, I understand. Usually it's somebody younger too. I say, but let's pump the brakes a minute. You're a principal. That means that yes, you're a leader, but yes, you're also a manager because of because of number 11. Is the overall management of the facility evident? Remember when I told you, if you were on with me earlier, when I was up on the roof all the time and learning about how this roof can be repaired so that rainwater could stop dripping into the building? That's not my leadership side. I mean, of course, yeah, it's my leadership side in the sense that I want this school, I want this school to not have to endure dampness when it's raining. But it's also my management side of this facility toward putting a push on people to make sure that this building is not leaking rainwater when it rains. The boiler room. What do you know about your boiler? Right? Or furnace, whatever you want to call it. What do you know about that room? Right? If no one's in the building, what do you know about the shutoff valve of the water? See, that's management of the facility. If there was a pipe rupture, do you know how to shut the water off? I bet you somebody on here put reveal yourself in this in the comments. I don't mean in a negative sense. Just if you just said to yourself, "Ooh, I never thought about that one, Kafele." Hit me up in that thread if you're one of them folks, right? Now, I don't mean in a negative sense, just to say you gave me some. I don't know how to shut off my water. So let's say you're working late and everybody's gone, and now you have a pipe rupture. I had a pipe rupture, but I was out of the building by then. So everybody was out. So when we got back, we had a swimming pool on the first floor, right? You have to know. Yeah, Rodney Richardson said, "Ouch." See, you have to know where that shutoff valve is. Just like in the basement here, my whole family knows how to shut this water off. I hope they all remember, right? Because if there's a pipe rupture, you shut the water off. So you've got to know your facility, right? Everything about the building. So you're not the maintenance man or woman, but you know the facility. You can speak intelligently about the facility. So I'm saying to you, yeah, I appreciate y'all being honest and telling me. So if I could, so just saying that alone, I could say that my time spent this morning was worth your while, right? Like if you get nothing else from me, you can say, man, Kafele hit me to the fact that I know that I need to know how to turn off the water. Because I mean, if your pipe ruptures, it's behind a wall probably. And even if it's exposed, what you gonna do? Get some duct tape and put it on the hole on the rupture real quick, and now solve your problem? No, you're gonna need to know how to turn that off. What about the electricity? What you know about that? Right? Sometimes you don't have time to wait because custodians, remember, as principal, you're in the building later than everybody else. You got the night custodians, but they may not know this stuff. You have to, those are guys and gals that come into the building and clean, right? But those emergencies, those crises, you may not be familiar with. What you gonna do when you have a crisis? You have to know your building. All those internet cables and that mainframe and all that, you got to have some kind of familiarity with that. There's so much to know. Yes, that's right, Dr. Alexander. That duct tape ain't gonna work with that rupture, right? So you got so if you're one of those folks that likes to talk a good game and you like, here they go, they put their chest out like they like, what's that expression? The young people, they speak it with their whole chest, right? That's that expression them young people use. He said it with his whole chest. I'm not a manager, I'm a leader. Whole chest out, man. Nah, baby. You got to be a manager of that building. right? Just like you got to be a manager of that budget. We're gonna get to that in a minute, right? But you got to, you know, you're a manager. I just want to drive that point home. You're not just a leader, you're a manager. The word manager is not a bad connotation. It's not a negative connotation, right? It's a good thing when you could go to a leader. So like like how you sometimes you see a principal and they got like a key ring and it's like a zillion keys on the ring, right? And you like, man, that's the principal. Like what they doing, right? So it doesn't have the instructional leadership connotation to it. Yeah, that's because they understand their role as manager. They got a bunch of master keys on there to some places that the rest of your staff doesn't have. See, so that they can get into these various rooms to keep everybody safe, right? So again, to drive the point home one more time, you're not just a leader. So if you're one of the ones that says it, get with the whole chest, right? Nah, stop that. Bring your chest in, man. We don't need to see all that. Bring that in. And understand that you are a leader and a manager, among other titles that you wear. Enough said. Number, I spent a lot of time on that one. I got 3 more. Number 12, what systems are in place that allow the school to run like a well-oiled machine? Let me see what Michael said here. Student was hanging on a pipe going to the gym and bam, the pipe broke, see? I knew where it was, but my dean of students beat me to the valve. See, and see, that's first year principal Michael Dixon out here in Newark. He's gonna be on the platform pretty soon too. But that's the thing, kid. You know, you're not around. Kid jumps up and grabs think he could do pull-ups on the bar on the pipe. Right now, the whole apparatus comes down. You got water going all over the place. What you gonna do? Man, somebody out there that don't want to come on that thread, they say, man, I ain't even think about that part. That like what the young people say, that part. That part, right? I ain't think about that part, right? Yeah, any given day, anything can arise. You got to be ready. What I say you are, manager. Don't forget that. All right, number 13. Is instruction in each of the classrooms of a high quality and equitable? Is instruction in each of the classrooms of a high quality and equitable? Let me tell y'all something, man. That word equitable, the volume of people that ask me to refrain from that word, whew, it is staggering. I mean, it was high earlier in the year, but now, and because people are afraid of it, losing their money. So the other day I was doing this presentation and I took the word equity out of everything because they were adamant with it. Zoom calls, do not say that word. All right. So I was doing the presentation and I realized in real time, I'm on a page where that word equity is getting ready to come up and I forgot to delete it. And it really threw off the entire presentation because I couldn't show the frame. I didn't have time to I couldn't be doing edits in live. So I couldn't show the frame. And it didn't have the same flow for me because see, I'm not the one that's going to get in trouble. I'm still going to get my check. But they're going to have to do the damage control when I leave. So that's why I try to be compliant and I don't say the word. Principal Kafele, don't say equity here. Don't say diversity here. Don't say inclusion here. Don't say SEL here. Don't say culturally relevant here, right? So then, and then sometimes this is me assuming they'll see me say these words on this platform and then they'll get nervous. And I got to tell them, I'm saying, all right, you see me on Saturday. I'm not going to do that stuff on my platform because you asked me not to in your venue. When I'm on my platform, I'm going to do me. But it doesn't mean I have to bring that with me when I go to your school, right? So we can slay that dragon here. Last one. What was the principal's closing message to the school this afternoon? In other words, you all hear me talk about that morning message, but you know something, folks? You need to close out too. You need to have something to say to your student body before they walk out of those doors. You need to remind them about homework. You need to remind them about studying. You need to remind them about sleep. You need to remind them about meals. You need to remind them about conduct when they're leaving the building, right? I mean, it's 2025. Kids still fight, right? They still fight away from the building. You need to be that voice that's in their head, reminding them that you are representing, even on your walk home, you are representing us. You are representing me, the principal, right? You are representing your community. You are representing your parents. But most importantly, you're representing your teachers. But most importantly, you are representing yourself. Don't misrepresent. Man, I gave that message for 14 years, y'all. There'll be no dismissal until I came on there and gave them not just that. That was like my my staple message. But then I had a little something too to go along with it, man. And I know it worked. I know it worked because of the feedback I got from people that were not in my building who said, we always know which students are yours because they conduct themselves a little bit differently. So again, it's not just the morning message. It's that afternoon message. And as I always say, I'll debate anybody. I don't care who disagrees. That's the one thing in principal leadership that I will never delegate. Ain't no assistant principal closing out for me. No assistant principal doing my morning message for me. I'll give you everything else, but I will not give you that. That is for me. I'm the head coach. I'm the pastor. I'm not giving that to somebody else to do. Right? Enough said. Let's go. So again, as I said to you, I want to see the leadership without having to see the leader. These are things as I walk a building. These are things I'm looking for. These are things I'm looking at. These are things I'm taking in. So when I talk to you about that list, your wins, your losses, your pivots, I want you to infuse these into it. I didn't put it on the screen because this is stuff I use when I'm out live and people are paying me good money. So I don't want them to see me list this on the screen. But this other PowerPoint I'm going to do for you in a few minutes, I don't do a lot on the road anymore. So I don't have a problem with putting it on the screen. So I'm getting ready to disappear from the screen. And all you're going to see is the PowerPoint. I don't know if I'm going to be in a little box or not, but you don't need to see me. What you're going to need to see is the PowerPoint. But I got two other things I just want to share with you real quick that you won't, two things that you won't see when you're walking the building, but you must have mastery of. So two things that I'm not going to see. So if I'm walking a building, I'm not going to see these two things, but they are ever present. They're omnipresent, right? The number one, a school budget. So let's say when we start putting this chart together, this leadership blueprint, and you know that the whole budgetary process, you haven't mastered that yet. Well, you need to highlight that, right? Do you know how to build a budget? If you're in a zero-based budgeting district, do you know how to build a budget? Do you know how to determine expenditures of a budget? Like where I should be buying from, where the best deals are, etc. Do I know how to create a purchase order, right? Do I know how to budget, right? There's so much to it. So as an AP, you could be with a principal that gave you zero exposure to a budget. And now all of a sudden you got a multi-million-dollar budget when you include staff salaries in the budget, the salaries and benefits in the budget. What do you know about that? That matters. And then the other piece is curriculum. You got to master that. I'm not saying you got to be a master of content, but you got to be a master of curriculum. You got to know curriculum, right? So real quick, y'all, I'm getting ready to pull up the PowerPoint, but there's a name. I'm glad she just popped up again. This has been a Facebook friend of mine for like years. She's a teacher for not Facebook, Twitter for years. Her name is Shaniqua Johnson. Shaniqua Johnson just got an appointment. I think she's in North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. Don't hold me to it. You can write the state if you want, Shaniqua, but she's on here now. She's been on here for a while. She's been showing up as a while in terms of comments, but she's a brand new assistant principal, first year. Give her some emojis, y'all. She's fam. She's definitely fam of the platform. Shaniqua Johnson. Give her some emojis, man. She's going into her first year, and I couldn't think of a better place for her to be than with the Fantastic Four. Sean Hurt, Sheikah Houston, Tammy Taylor, Principal Kafele, Josh Tovar, Marty Monedo. I can't think of a better place to be. So give us some love, y'all. Give us some emojis. That's Shaniqua Johnson, first year assistant principal. Maybe one day we'll be saying, give us some emojis as she's now the assistant principal of the year, right? So give us some emojis, y'all. That's fam of the platform. Hey, y'all, let me take myself off of the screen now. And let me bring up something here. So bear with me a second. I didn't want to do it that way yet. Hang on. Where am I? Here we go. All right. Bear with me a second while I maneuver. I keep hitting that wrong button. Bear with me a second while I maneuver here. Here we go. I'm right now. Here we go. Window. There we go. Bam. We up. So it's called My Leadership Blueprint, right? And let me grab my phone to make sure that you guys are seeing what I want you to see. All right, this is going to be my first time doing this platform in PowerPoint, so I need to look at my screen right quick on Facebook and make sure that I got this thing set up right. So y'all got to bear with me a second. Let's see. On Facebook and make sure that I got this thing set up right. No, I don't like what I see. Bear with me, y'all. I'm trying to figure this out. Bear with me. Okay, let's try this again. Now. Here we go. I'm almost there. Let's try this again. Now. Y'all got to bear with me, y'all. I rehearsed this thing before and it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So just bear with me a second. Bear with me. Got to bring it back up. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Y'all still there? All right. I'm getting it. I've never done this before on StreamYard. I do it on Zoom, but not StreamYard. So let me try it again. You all are hearing me, I think. I hope. All right. So let's go. All right, window. There we go. All right. Now, my hope is that you're hearing me. Let's see. Let me turn my volume up. Oh, man. This ain't working right. Let's go. Now, y'all not seeing the PowerPoint. You seeing my window. There we go. Oh, hang on. There we go. All right. Now, my hope is that you're hearing me. Let's see. Let me turn my volume up. All right. I tell you what, y'all. I see what you see on my phone, and you're seeing those thumbnails. So I don't know how to I can't make this thing work the way I want with the animation and all that kind of stuff without the thumbnails. So I'm gonna just keep it like this here. So yeah, thanks for telling me you hear me, folks. But the background. Let me see if you have a playing background. All right, let me change that background then. Y'all hang out with me while I'm trying to figure this out. I rehearsed it during the week, and I thought I had it down pat, but apparently it didn't work out for me the way I wanted it to. So just hang on, y'all. Hang on. Let me change that background, make it plain. I can't understand why I can't. All right, I tell you what. You can see that screen. I'm just going to go with that. You're give me somebody let me know if you hear me. You hear me? All right. Y'all said you hear me. Such a blessing to get this for free. I appreciate that, Sonia. Y'all hear me? Y'all hear me? Y'all hear me? Somebody tell me that you hear me. Hey, Kim, you hear me out on that phone? Man, y'all don't hear me. Okay, Annette said yes. All right. All right. Give me okay. Anybody y'all okay, so loud and clear. All right, y'all listen. For the next time that I do a PowerPoint, we're gonna I'm gonna figure out how to use my animation because I can't use my animation right now. So we'll just do it like this. Let me see if I could just bring me on the screen. There we go. We'll just put me right there. All right. So listen. Okay, thank you. My wife said yes, we can hear you. All right. So I didn't want you to see this screen like this. I just wanted you to see the first line where it says situation analysis. You will recall in the past I've used this before on this platform, but it's been at least 3 or 4 years. So there's a whole new group of people that watch this from then. So we're doing it again. I'm saying to you, as I'm back in it now, the when you're in leadership, yes, I understand that you use that you develop a school improvement plan, and any other plans that you all develop collectively as it relates to the school, right? That's what we do. But what I've also noticed, yeah, I put myself on the screen a little bit so y'all could see me a little something, right? But see, what I've also noticed is that we'll have a school plan, but we may not necessarily have a leadership plan, right? A plan that speaks to us singularly. See, when we were teachers, we developed a lesson plan. That wasn't for the school. That was for us. That was our plan for our individual classroom or classrooms if we were secondary, right? So we had a plan of action. We walked into the building every day with a plan. So then we become leaders. And I know this definitively because I've asked a large enough sample size if they walk into a building with an individualized plan. And in the proverbial 99.9% of the time, they'll say to me, no, I don't walk in with an individualized plan, but I may walk in with a to-do list. But what I always say, that the to-do list doesn't cut it, because the to-do list doesn't describe your current situation. It doesn't describe your goals. It doesn't describe your plan, your tactics. All it says is, I have to do this. Right? That's all it says. So it's just a check. It's just a checklist of things that you said, this is something I have to do. Right? Man, I hate that y'all seeing the screen this way, because I wanted you to see it the Zoom way, the PowerPoint way, animated, so that you're not seeing all of that at one time. But we make it what they say, we make it do what it do. Right? So here we go. Pretend you don't see that A, B, and C, and all you see is situation analysis. So, and I'm calling it my leadership blueprint. Once again, my leadership blueprint. So I'm breaking the rest of this session up into 2 parts: your blueprint and your plan. Right? The plan requires a blueprint in order for the plan to make sense, if that makes sense to you. You think about when you build a building, or when you build anything, as you all know, there's a blueprint that precedes everything else. You don't see those workers on the construction site just building. There's a blueprint, because I'm always in amazement with how they know what to do. I know, like I know they have a blueprint, but it's still amazing how, just how a building is built, right? Because I don't do it. They may look at me and you lead a school and say, that's pretty amazing what you're doing, right? Because that's not what they do. So watching them build a building is amazing, but I always got to remember, but it's rooted in a blueprint. Well, here's the question: is your leadership rooted in a blueprint? Mm. Is there a blueprint to guide you, to drive you, to lead you, to take you to where it is you're trying to get to? See, that matters. That matters, right? So I want you to do this. Either take notes or write up your blueprint. Write what you see that I just wrote, or type what you see that I just wrote. So the first area we want to look at is your situation analysis. It asks the question, where am I now? This what you see, this plan, I literally created this, right? What's the word I'm looking for? It was I'm looking for a particular word. I can say what I want to say, but there's a word I'm looking for. It was for lack of the being able to pull up the word I'm looking for. Here's the word. It was inspired by when I studied marketing in undergrad school, right? So I was inspired by that, but I took it to another level, right? So I created this blueprint for teachers and school administrators. So I said, first and foremost, you cannot set goals. You know, people like to set goals for the new year, set goals for a new project, set goals for whatever it is that they're trying to do in life, you know, lose weight, whatever, right? And I say to folks, I say, well, you can't set goals in isolation. You can't do it. You have to first analyze, and that's the key word, analyze your current situation. So we call that your situation analysis. Oh, Shanique was in Texas. All right, Texas. I had that state all wrong. I'm in the wrong time zone and everything. So again, your leadership blueprint starts with your situation analysis, because you want to analyze where you are. Because see, goals can be unrealistic. See, we could set the big goal, but set ourselves up for failure because it wasn't realistic. And when the goal isn't realistic, it's easy to quit. It's easy to give up because the mind says, the brain says, I couldn't do this. I'm not built for this, right? That's because you didn't analyze your situation. So first, as it relates to your leadership blueprint and your planning for school leadership, I'm saying let's go to letter A and write down everything you see in letter A, areas where I want to continue to grow. Where it says my wins, ignore that for a second. Areas where I want to continue to grow, right? So now what I'm saying with that, and yeah, I was going to try something else. I'm still bugged by the fact that you're not seeing this the way I want you to see it, but let me leave it alone if I mess it up, right? So then it says 1, 2, 3. Now the reason it says 1, 2, 3 is because that's all I could fit on the screen. It could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 25, 30, 30, whatever. Areas where I want to continue to grow. This would be a listing. Like, you got to take some time with this. This is a blueprint. This is not something you do in 5 minutes. You want to write a listing of all the aspects of your leadership where you said, I think I'm good here. I think I'm proficient here. Because see, in parentheses, your wins, my wins. These are your wins. But sometimes we can become so inundated with our deficiencies or our challenges or our obstacles or our pressures or our demands that we can forget the wins. That's very easy to do because we're so inundated with the other stuff. So now this serves as a reminder that I need to show myself that I've been winning all along when I didn't even realize I was winning, because I was dwelling on my losses. I was dwelling on my deficiencies. I was dwelling on my shortcomings. I was dwelling on my pressures. I was dwelling on my obstacles. I was dwelling on my demands. So we dwelling on all that. We bringing ourselves down. We depressed. We question, do I still want to do this job? Maybe I need to go to another school. Maybe I need to find another profession. You know, all that kind of stuff, because we never took the time to acknowledge our wins and then to celebrate them. That matters, right? So here I'm saying, list all of your wins, everything that you've been doing well, areas where I want to continue to grow. These are your areas of proficiency. And I bet you if you all out there take this seriously, you're going to find that you got more wins than you knew, because you weren't dwelling on them. You were dwelling on all the stuff that stresses you, right? So take the time, not now. I'm just giving you the skeleton right now. Take the time and list those areas where you are proficient. And I put in parentheses as a reminder, these are your wins, right? So now let's talk about those last two sessions, week number 267 and week number 271. So when I was talking about all those things of self-reflection, because that's what it was, all these areas of self-reflection, I think what I give y'all like 36 or 48 different areas of self-reflection. And then what I gave you today with the monologue and then the beginning of this session, I gave y'all a lot, man. I gave you like 60 things to think about, right? So then go through that list, and then your own list of things I did not talk about, because I can't talk about the totality of leadership because it would take us forever. But I want you to think about all those things that you're doing well. And they serve as a reminder to continue to do well in those areas. But watch this, y'all. But get even better at them. So let's say you right here something. You good, man. People celebrating you. All right. But you said, but I got another gear. I got another gear. I'm going to take this to another level. But you list that because that's the reminder, right? Now let's go to area B. And this is all under situation analysis. I'm teaching today, y'all. Like Sean Hurt said, I'm teaching good, right? So areas where I need to improve. Ooh, this the part where you got to get this now. You got to get that mirror, right? And you gotta ask yourself, man, am I willing to be honest with myself and admit to those areas where I am not measuring up? Because see, some of us got bigger egos than others. And some of us don't want to face the truth, face the reality that I'm not good. But here's the beauty. You don't have to share this with anybody. This is just you. I appreciate that, Dr. Houston. I appreciate you. I'm trying to be like Sean this morning, man. I'm trying to talk good, man. So here we go. Tell Sean I was talking about him later, right? So here we go. Areas where I need to improve. In parentheses, these are your deficiencies. Like there's some areas you're not good and you know it. Okay. Well, take your ego, put it to the side, and list all them areas where you have work to do. Just list them. List them. If you find that you came up with 50 different things, that is okay, right? Just list them. Just list them. Just list them, right? All those areas where you're not where you want to be, just list them. That matters, right? Just list them. So, because remember, you're a leader, and the idea is to get better. I remember, like, and I'm gonna be quite frank with you, I didn't use the blueprint for this, but I do know that with this platform, when I started interviewing, I struggled in the beginning with that, man. That wasn't my thing, man. Well, I don't know nothing about no interviewing. I didn't go to journalism school, right? I know something about being interviewed. So I had to work on that new craft of being able to talk to people and make it interesting and so forth, right? So that was an area of deficiency. What I know about being on that end, I'm used to being on the receiver end. They asking me questions and I respond to questions. Now I'm asking the questions, and they got to be questions that are interesting to the people who view. That was an area of deficiency. So what are your leadership areas of deficiency? List them. As a matter of fact, hit that share button, retweet, like, repost, like it, text somebody, call somebody, let them know. Principal Kafele on here teaching right now, right? Let them know. Let them know. So then those are those two. Now let's and all we're not even talking about no goals and anything. All we're talking about is your current situation, like who you are right now. Let's go to letter C. Areas where I need to make a pivot. So let's say that there's certain things that you've been doing for a while, right? And now it's, we're in 2025, and y'all know, I don't mean the current politics, I just mean society has shifted. Things are not what they used to be, right? There's certain expectation that I have of human beings in certain in just certain genres, certain categories, and I say, I think it's over. It's not here anymore, right? Things have changed, right? So there's one I'm tempted to say, and then I'm also tempted to not say, because we got mixed company on here. So I'll just not say it today. Maybe another day I'll feel differently. But just things have changed, right? So therefore, the way I approach certain things that have changed, I can't do it the way I used to do it. I have to make a pivot. I can't get better at it. I have to pivot and move differently. I hope you hear the difference. Certain things you can get better, right? Through practice, through concentration, etc. Certain other things you may need to make a complete shift, a complete adjustment, a complete pivot, because the old way of doing it, it's just not going to work anymore, right? The example that I used to use, it's not relevant anymore, but during the pandemic, I used to tell people when I was doing all these virtual presentations every day, that was a brutal time of my life, because I was doing like 5 and 6 a day. It was brutal. But I was saying to folks, I said, before the pandemic, when I was a principal, I would shake all the guys' hands before they came into the building. That was just that was just staple with me. I shake their hand. But I said during the pandemic and immediately after, I wasn't shaking nobody's hand. So there's no way to improve upon a handshake. So I would have had to have pivoted away from a handshake into something different to greet my young men. So just take that and transfer it to whatever your situation, and understand that we have to pivot sometimes. We can't always improve. Now, with this screen, I'm ready to go to the next screen, but I don't know if the space bar, I don't know it's gonna work this way. Nah, no. So now what I gotta do, I gotta go out. Oh God. Y'all bear with me, man, because I gotta go to the next page and I can't advance it. It's locked in. So just bear with me. Let's see. How am I gonna even get out of this thing? That ain't gonna do it. Let's see. Put me back up. I put me back up. Stay there a minute, because I need y'all to hear me. All right. So stay there. And I gotta advance the screen. This is terrible. Go to this screen. All right. Now bring it back up. Go here. And no, we don't want to go there yet. Bring it back up. I'm just talking to myself. Don't mind me. And share the screen. Go to window. There it is. Share it. There. And now go here. There we go. Now bring me in. And there we are. Second screen. So next time I do a power, because I'm gonna call the PowerPoint people. I mean the StreamYard people, and say, yo, I need my whole screen up without these thumbnails. Sheikah's probably gonna send me a inbox later and say with a whole directions and say, this is what you do. Yeah. Hey, no, Sheikah just wrote me. She said, your next solo session with slides, I'm volunteering to help you. There we go. It's always good to have fam, man. Here we go, y'all. So see, I never did this with slides, y'all. So Zoom, I'm the champion, right? But StreamYard, I don't know how to do this on StreamYard. I don't know how to do it, right? I thought I did. It looked good in rehearsal when I didn't hit the live button, but now that I hit the live button, it ain't working the same way. It's nice when you could be vulnerable and transparent, though, man. That's part. Hey, y'all, that's part of leadership, right? I can sit here and say it's StreamYard's fault. Somebody probably said, hey, Kafele, get back on course. All right, let's go, y'all. Goals. Now, remember in the situation analysis, you had areas where I want to continue to grow, areas where I need to improve, and areas where I need to make a pivot. Well, notice the same wording in the same order. Notice that? That's intentional to make this real easy. So now, in the situation analysis, you had A1, areas where I want to continue to grow, and you wrote in A1, blah, blah, blah. And then in A2, you wrote blah, blah, blah. In A3, you wrote blah, blah, blah. In A4 and A5 and A6, you may not have done that right now, but when you start doing it, to A7, A8, A9, and all that, you wrote that. Well, guess what? Under your goals page in A1, you will write a goal that corresponds with A1 on the situation analysis. So the situation analysis said, I'm not proficient, I'm not quite comfortable yet with the pre-observation conference. I'm just this off the top of my head. So now A1 as a goal, you said, I'm going to hone my skills in the way I engage with the teacher to create a conversation in the pre-observation conference. Because you said in A1 situation analysis, it wasn't a real conversation. This is me hypothetical now. It was you lecturing or dictating. And you wanted a flow, you wanted a conversation, you wanted it mutual, that it's not just me that recognizes the deficiency in pedagogy, in this area of pedagogy, but it's the two of you that see the same thing. So you felt in A1, I'm not comfortable yet in the flow of the conversation. So you said in A1 of goals, I'm going to hone my skills in being able to engage the teacher in a viable conversation around the area of pedagogical deficiency. Now, again, that's me off the top of my head. That's me without notes in front of me on that, right? So I think you see where I'm going. So then when you go, so then you go to A2 under goals, but you refer to A2 under situation analysis. So in other words, these 2 pages and the 3rd page, they're going to align, right? They're going to align. So A3 under goals will align with A3 under situation analysis. Do you follow? And I know your answer is yes, right? Now, let's go to B under goals. Areas where I need to improve. Areas where I need to improve. These are my deficiencies, right? These are your deficiencies. So now go back to B1 under situation analysis. That's why you got to number these. Go to B1 under situation analysis and read what you wrote, right? So you said, matter of fact, it just dawned upon me, I don't like the example that I used in A1 because I used something that I should have used in B. A is you good already. So let me change that A1 just for the sake of discussion. So you said, I am satisfied with the engagement with the teacher, right? Under situation analysis in A1. You said, I'm satisfied. But in goals with A1, you said, but I still feel the conversation can flow a little better, right? I got to make that distinction because A is not about deficiency at all. A is about I'm good, but I can be great. I can be amazing. That's what A is about, right? So now B is the deficiency, right? B is the deficiency. So now, man, I'm not good here. So if I could use the other example, I'm not good with that pre-observation conference. Like we have it, I'm good with time, but I'm not good with the discussion. I feel the teacher feels a little threatened by my presence, right? Like, so it's so many ways to change that. Maybe the environment is wrong. right? Maybe your office is not the place to have that meeting. Maybe it's a conference room, because maybe your office is intimidating because it's the principal's office and all teachers may not be able to handle that environment. Maybe the best place to have that meeting is their classroom during a prep period, right? So someplace outside of your office. So maybe the deficiency is because of the environment. Now, again, this is just me off the top of my head, y'all. I got no notes on this, right? All I'm saying to you is whatever you wrote in B1 under situation analysis, write the corresponding goal in B1 in your goals. That's what I'm saying. So now you have a goal to go with every deficiency in real time in your situation analysis. Does that make sense? And I know it does, right? Then you go to letter C and you go back to your situation analysis and you ask the question, what did C1 say about areas where I need to make a pivot? And in fact, let me, while I said that, I came up with a better word. I mean, pivot's going to be my word, but I came up with a better way to make that really make sense. In this particular area, I'm on situation analysis now. That's why I wish Sheikah can't teach me how to use this soon enough, because I need to go back to the situation, and now I can't even go back and forth, right? So C1 under situation analysis, and you wrote some kind of deficiency that I cannot improve upon, I have to make a complete shift. Now, you go to C1 under goals, right? So the word is pivot, but here's the word that makes that make sense. You might have to reinvent yourself in that particular area. That makes the word pivot make sense. Like you got to bring a brand new you, because the world has changed, times have changed, the children have changed, the students have changed, the expectations in education have changed, and what you used to do work like a charm, that thing don't work no more. You got to make a pivot. So now I'm saying, to make the word pivot make sense, you got to reinvent yourself in that area. Y'all hear me? I know that makes sense. I know that makes sense. Y'all, I just want to look at my phone right quick, because I want to see what you're seeing. So just bear with me a second. Bear with me. I ain't never done this before. So I just want to see. Oh, I see what you see. Okay. Okay. But once Sheikah finishes showing me how to use that, I want you to see an entire screen that I can animate, meaning I can go back and forth with, all that. You know what that means. I ain't got to explain no animation, right? So anyway, because somebody that really don't know, they like, you gonna put a cartoon on there, right? But nah, y'all know what I mean. All right, y'all, let's go. So now I'm ready to go to my next screen. So you know what I got to do, right? So let me get out of this. Man, this if I could use this word, tell your children to hold your children's ears. This sucks, man. Right? So let me do what I got to do. Hang on. Let me go to my next screen. Here we go. Let's hit this shit. At least I could do this a little quicker now. It's just doing something quicker that I don't want, right? But at least I can get it up here quick enough, right? Here we go. There it is. Now, where we at here? So, where we at? Here we go. There we go. Oh, I see. I'm on the wrong one. I got you. There we go. All right. Man, I don't like, man. All right. At least I'm getting the information. All right. So this is the third page, y'all. Strategy. Notice the three sentences again. They're the same ones. Areas where I want to continue to grow. Areas where I need to improve. Areas where I need to make a pivot. But see, here's the difference between this page, strategy number 3, Roman numeral number 3, and the previous two. The previous two, under situation analysis, you were writing bullet points. This page, you're going to use a little ink on this one. Because see, now you're talking about where the rubber meets the road. This is the plan, right? This is the plan. This is not your daily plan yet. This is your blueprint. I'm going to get to your daily plan. This right now, this is your blueprint. This is so when you look at your house, wherever you at right now, your house, your building, whatever it is, wherever you are, know that a blueprint preceded that. When you drive around later and you see all the properties all over the place, the buildings, the homes, the houses, everything, do know a blueprint preceded every structure that you see. So if I'm right, which I know I am, then here's my question. What blueprint has preceded the structure of you? What blueprint has preceded the structure of your leadership? Did you just walk in and go to work? Or was there a blueprint that was developed, that was crafted, that was refined before you started building your leadership? Somebody said, I won't say the full D word. I'll just use the D. Somebody said, D, that man teaching today. I ain't never think about it the way he just said it. A blueprint that preceded my leadership before I started building and molding and shaping my leadership. Ooh, I'm just patting myself on the back on that one. Hey, Sharon Rivers, you right about that. I need to do it. It's coming. It's coming. She said that'd be the bomb, right? It's coming, right? So let's go, y'all. Let's go. So now the strategy. Watch this, y'all. You got to go back to your situation analysis now. What did A1 say? Right? Matter of fact, let's forget A. Let's go to B. What did B1 say in the situation analysis? That was the deficiency, right? So my flow, my conversation in that pre-observation conversation, and I'm not talking about your by the way, I'm not talking about your summative conversation. I'm talking formative, that ongoing collegiality throughout the course of the year. So you're not satisfied. Like, you got to have these conversations because you don't want to walk into a classroom without having the conversation where we mutually agree, this is what I will be looking at and for. So now but you're not satisfied. And it's not that your dissatisfaction is not with the teacher, by the way. It's with you. I'm just not liking the way I'm going about it. I get the theory, and I've been listening to Kafele and Dr. Houston and Dr. Hurt and Sean Hurt and Marty and Josh and all that kind of stuff, Dr. Moreno, but and Dr. Taylor, but I'm just, it's not flowing right. All right, good. So now that's what you wrote in that B1 situation analysis. But then you said in B1 goals, not B2, B1 goals. Now you said what you ideally want it to be. You wrote the goal. But then on this page, strategy. Ooh, now you wrote the plan. This is what I will do. See, the goals page is just the one-liner. This is the goal. I'm going to be able to have a good flowing conversation with the teacher on the area of deficiency. But the B1 under strategy says this. Let me at least put the point out. This is what I'm going to do to get myself to that point, right? I don't know what that is. I mean, I could sit here and put recommendations, but I don't even know that this is an area of deficiency for anybody. That's just something that came off the top of my head. So I'm not going to try to turn that into a lesson, right? I just want you to get what I'm saying. Let me read what Tori said. Are you meaning the previous leader or my ideas of my leadership? No, Tori, all of this is about you. All of it is about your leadership, right? You and your leadership, all of it. It's not about the previous at all. They have nothing to do with this. This is about you, right? A blueprint for your leadership. And my premise here, I'm saying if buildings and structures need blueprints, why don't we? Right? So this is something I created that was inspired by my marketing background to say that it's not just about setting goals. It's also about analyzing my current situation so that the goal is realistic. So if I just walk into a school, or if I'm in a school for a while, let's say, forget about walking to a school. I'm in a school and it's perennially low performing. And now I got people on my case. I got the mayor out there talking. I got the council out there talking. I got the superintendent out there talking. I got the board out there talking. Got the community out there talking. And everybody's upset because my school continues to be it's a perennial low performing school. So now you come in the building and say, all right, we've been in the 20s in reading, the 20s or the 30s in reading for a long time. This year, though, we're going to be at 80% proficient. What I'm saying in this context, that is that is a grossly unrealistic goal. It will set you up for failure because it's not attainable based on your history. So now with this particular, so with this, now that's all right, Dory. I'm glad you're here. And then you can watch the rerun right after we go off, right? It'll be right there sitting on LinkedIn where you are, or you can go to YouTube and watch all of the ones that you've missed. So at AP and New Principles Academy. So now you want to set goals that are realistic. You want to show the community, the mayor, the council, the superintendent, the board, the community, the parents. You want to show them all that you're making progress, but you don't want to set yourself up for failure because, see, if you went out there and said some high number, now they all expect you to reach that high number. And then if you don't, but yet you did make strides, you're not going to get the same credit that you would have gotten. So the goals got to be realistic, but you can't set realistic goals if you haven't analyzed your situation. Your goals, hear me, somebody, your goals have to be rooted and grounded and planted in your current situation. That's the situation analysis. You can't just randomly set goals. Why do you think the gym is the exercise gym? Why do you think the gym is so crowded in January and empty in March? Empty in February. Why do you think that is? No, forget February. Why do you think the gym is so crowded on New Year's Day and so sparse on January the 10th, right? Because people were setting goals that didn't make sense. They thought they going in there big, one that got a little weight on them. Oh, I'm gonna be thin like in a month, man. I'm going hard, man. I'm going cold turkey on the diet, man. I'm gonna exercise every day. No, that ain't realistic. Look at your situation, right? Like thoroughly analyze it. Oh, so now how much you eat every day? Oh, I eat a whole lot. Okay, you can't go from eating plates piled this high. I know I'm exaggerating, but just hear the point. You can't eat plates piled this high to this in one day. You got to gradually decrease because your body ain't ready for you to go from here to here. Your body's not ready for that. So in other words, now you go here, you were here. Okay, now bring it down a little bit. Then the next day, bring it down a little bit. Next day, bring it down a little. Or here's the other one. So people go to the gym and like they pump like, woo, I'm ready. So now they in there New Year's Day. They lifting on, they working out on every machine in the gym. And now their body, they can't even move their finger. They're so sore. Oh, I ain't doing this, man. Forget this. No, that's because you didn't look at your situation thoroughly and critique it, analyze it, and say, my body has not exercised in a long time. I can't be doing all these machines. I can't be doing all these repetitions. I can't be doing all these sets. A little bit, but you got to write that out. You got to analyze your situation. Y'all hear me? So I'm not trying to turn this into a gym thing, and I'm not off subject. What I'm doing is I'm saying, look at this comparison as to how you need to develop your blueprint as it relates to your leadership, right? Like Annette said, Principal Faison, make it make sense. Be realistic. See that, and that's what I'm doing here. So I appreciate that, Annette. So yeah, that's what you want to do. Right. So now the strategy. Okay. You said you want that conversation to flow. So now you got to do some writing because you got to devise a plan of what you mean by that. What you gonna do about it? Maybe your posture, maybe your overall disposition, right? Maybe your attitude. I mean, again, the environment. There's a multiplicity of factors as to why that conversation may not be flowing. Maybe you trying to talk to this teacher the way you talk to a different teacher, and they have two very different personalities, and you trying to be the same person with everybody. See, communication is my thing. It's how I make a living. I can't talk to everybody the same way. No two audiences are the same. So I got to know how to make that adjustment, right? And as I said a long time ago, a different one of these Saturday presentations, I said that sometimes, we all learn as a child growing up to look people in the eyes. Okay. But sometimes that staring in the eyes when you're talking to somebody that you're trying to help, that may be an impediment to the progress you're trying to make. Because if you're somebody, you're wearing the title of principal. So right then and there could be some degree of anxiety, right? Because you are the principal, you are the assistant principal, and now you're getting ready to tell me about areas where I need to get better, right? Or we mutually agree on these areas I need to get better. But then you're looking at me with this serious look, like you're not relaxed, you're not calm, you're not smiling like I do, right? So now you're looking stern, and then you're locked into my eyes, like you're locked in, right? Let me get the smile off my face. So here you go. Yes. So that area of direct instruction. You're not connecting, blah blah blah, right? So then the teacher's so uncomfortable that the teacher shifts this way, and your eyes shift with the teacher's eyes, right? So now this teacher shifts this way, tries to do it subtle, but then you shift with the teacher, and now you still locking, and now this teacher is so uncomfortable because it's like, think about, like, eyes don't grab people, but they do. So like, think about if you grab somebody, right? And you clutch them like your child, they run off in the amusement park and you clutch them, you ain't running no more, right? Well, you have clutched this teacher with your eyes. Every time this teacher tried to look away or look down because it was so uncomfortable, because you're still remembering them days when they taught you, when you're talking to somebody, make sure you look them square in their eyes. But that teacher's so uncomfortable with you looking them in their eyes. So the teacher looks down and you all looking down, trying to catch. Because I've had people like that. Because, I've told y'all in the past, those of you who have been on here for a long time, I'm not, the way I am on this screen is not how I am off screen. Right? The way I am with an audience is not the way I am away from the audience. I'm reserved, man. I'm quiet. My kids could tell you that. My wife could tell, my mother. I'm introverted, right? So sometimes I'm with somebody, talking to somebody. I don't mean like someone in authority, just a person. And I'm trying to have a conversation, and they all locked in right here. They are making me so uncomfortable, man. Why you staring in my eyes that hard? See, so that could be part of the problem. So y'all got to be. And again, this session is not about eye contact, but I use it as an example, and then I felt like I needed to expound on it because it's a real thing, right? So just make sure that in my example I use of the conversation that you're putting the teacher at ease, so that you can have the conversation. Smile sometime. Relax a little bit, right? Move your eyes away from his or her eyes, right? And just create as best you can a relaxing environment where we can talk pedagogy, but it's not intimidating, right? It's not intimidating, right? Good stuff. Let's go. So here we go. I got to go out of the share again. So let me bear with me a second. Those of you that came on late, I don't know how to work this PowerPoint with StreamYard. So I got to go in and out to change my pages. So here we go. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Let's see. Share screen. Oh, I forgot to advance the screen. Hang on a minute. Hang on. Advance the screen. All right, here we go. Here we go. Hit the share button. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. All right. There we go. Boom. All right. So check this out, y'all. Screen number 4. I think I got 5 altogether to show you. This screen is called implementation. You have heard me talk about this ad nauseum, right? But now I'm giving it to you in this context, right? That you've gone through your situation analysis. You've gone through your goals. You've gone through your strategy. And by the way, I didn't say this because I went on a pre-observation tangent. So let me say it without the screen being up. In your strategy, A1 coincides with A1 on the goals page, which coincides with A1 on the situation analysis page. A3 of the situation analysis corresponds with A3 of the goals page, of A3 of the strategy page. You follow the pattern. So whatever, with all of those, you got B, you got C. So B5 under deficiencies on the situation analysis will correspond with B5 on the goals page under deficiencies, right? Letter B, which will correspond with letter B, B5 on the strategy page. You see the alignment? It's aligned. You're not scrambling around looking for what corresponds with this and that. It's all there. It aligns. And then you use it as a living document. This is not your daily plan yet. This is your blueprint, but you make frequent reference to it. You don't put it on the shelf somewhere. You don't put it in a folder on your computer on the desktop and never see it again. Like some of us do with the school improvement plan, compliance document. Oh, it's done. Superintendent saw it, and I ain't thinking about it no more this year. That mindset is out there, right? So I'm saying to you, keep this blueprint close to the vest. You think once they develop the blueprint, when they're constructing a skyscraper in New York City, that they put the blueprint away and now they just build? The blueprint is omnipresent until the building is complete. So your blueprint has to stay near you, it has to stay close to the vest. So now let's look at this page. Roman numeral 4, implementation. How and when will I measure my progress? Let's say that again. How and when will I measure my progress? So I'm saying to you, you got to engage in that regular self-reflection. But in this case, reflection of what you wrote. Self-assessment. Assessment of what you wrote juxtaposed with assessment of how you implement it. Like, so assessment of your practice of who you are, just juxtaposed with what you wrote in your blueprint, right? You cannot write this blueprint and then act outside of the blueprint. You have to be an extension of your blueprint. Then you go to your self-adjustment. So now you as you analyze your day and you keep the blueprint nearby, you say, what adjustment do I need to make going into tomorrow because I'm still not pleased based on what you have in your blueprint and just what you know about yourself toward the goal of self-improvement. That matters. But never losing sight of that 5th one. And this is huge. How huge? This huge. Self-preservation, self-care. First year principles, Michael Dixon. Glad you stayed on this long too, man. I appreciate you. Michael Dixon's a first year principal here in Jersey, right across the borderline where I am in Newark. I'm in Jersey City. So, Michael, I'm gonna holler right at you right quick. There might be weeks where you spend 12 hours in the building every day. And then you go back to the school on Saturday and Sunday and do another 16 hours between the 2 days. Those days may occur, they may not. You may have figured it out earlier than I did. But for me, I was doing them 12 hours. Then I was doing those a day and then those 16 hours on the weekend. because I was brand spanking new. I was trying to figure it out. My AP experience was not a good one. So I'm going overtime trying to figure it out. I say the first year principles all the time. If you have that schedule, I'm not mad at you in year one, but I'll be mad at you if you're continuing to do it in year two, right? Year one, I ain't mad at you because I get it. You are trying to learn an entire building, right? And you're trying to work within a system, a school district. So there's so much to learn. There's so much to know, and that's including when the building is empty, right? So I'm not mad at anybody first year that is putting in that kind of time. But my expectation is that because you put in so much time, them 80 and 90-hour weeks, when nobody sees that either. It's not like the superintendent sees it and says, I'm really impressed with this. They don't see it. Nobody knows unless only one that knows is if you got custodians that come in on the weekend. Other than that, no one knows we're in there doing that. But I'm going to tell you someone who does know. Someone real important that knows you're in there putting in those kind of hours. Your body knows. Y'all weren't ready for that. Your body knows. See, it knows. And I'm going to tell you something else. Your body might be breaking down. Not drastically. Just little baby steps. But you're probably not getting the proper rest. You're probably not eating right. You're probably mentally and emotionally not what you're accustomed to being. So your body knows. Emotionally, you know. Right? So, but I'm still going to say I give a pass on that year one. Despite all of that, I'm still going to give you a pass because the role of the principalship is just demanding. You know, people who make the choice to play football and make it all the way to professional football, they know their risk of death when you play football. Every down is a risk of death, right? But the football player loves it so much, I'm willing to take the risk. So with principal leadership, I'm not going to put it in the category risk of death, although there is. But I will say this. I understand because I did the work. 14 years. I understand how someone could put in 90 hours in year one. So you're never going to hear me complain to you or say to you, you got to cut the hours. You're not going to hear that from me. You might hear it from someone else, but you're not going to hear it from me. Where I'm going to step in, where you're going to hear it from me is when that spilled into year two and you have not grown and you're still putting in the 90 hours. Then you write me and you tell me about it. Then I'm gonna holler at you, and I don't mean I'm a HOLLA. I'm a HOLLER, right? Or OR, however you spell it. It shows what I know, right? I'm a holler. I know it's an R at the end, right? I'm a holler at you, right? Because I'm saying to you, you haven't learned yet how to tap into other people, and you haven't learned how to be smart at your work. I told you, my boss, he's a great friend of mine, man. He's my boss. He's 80 something now, and he's still working in the education field as a consultant. And his wife was my principal, and we still tight. Sends me a birthday card every year, Christmas pictures, all that. We cool. But he told me he told me at the end of my first year. I told y'all this before, but I'm telling you in a different context now. When I got my first set of test scores, he summoned me to his office in the middle of the school day. And he said to me, what happened? He might be on here now because he watches. His name is Dr. Kenneth King. He said, what happened? That was in 1999. 2000. I said, Doc, you know how hard I work? Man, I'm here all the time, man. I said, I do like 90 hours. I'm here on the weekend. 8 hours Saturday, 8 hours Sunday every week. I watch the NFL games in my office on television. He said, Kafele. He called me Mr. He said, Mr. Kafele, I'm not questioning how smart, how hard you work. I'm questioning how smart you work. That thing stung, man. Ooh. It took me 2 weeks to recover. I promise you I'm not lying. It took me 2 weeks to recover. My wife had to be the recipient of my rage because I couldn't give it to nobody else. Right? That's all I had. I had nobody, and my mother. That's all I had. But once I settled down, I said that man was right. I'm not working smart. I'm just working hard. I'm working dumb. I had to figure it out. So I'm saying all that to say to y'all, that last one, self-preservation, self-care. You got to take care of you. The principalship kills. It can kill you. I'm being blunt with you because I'm serious. Right? I don't want to sugarcoat this. I could say the principalship can do harm to you, right? Or the principalship can make you suffer. I could say them. No, the principalship can kill you. The principalship can put your butt in the hospital. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. You know what I mean? Principals wind up in the emergency room because of the work. So your diet, your exercise, and here's the one we don't talk about, your sleep. All that matters. And don't come at me talking about, well, I fell asleep at my desk the other night and I slept in my chair for 3 hours. Don't even come to me with that because I'm going to tell you where to go. don't come at me with that, right? You got to go home and get in your bed and get your hours. I'm not an 8-hour guy. My body don't want to sleep 8 hours. I try. It just won't. I'm a 6-hour guy. Right? That's just my body. I'll lay there. Come on, man. Fall back to sleep. I can't. I could be worn out. I'm like laying there. Okay, it's Sunday, man. You don't have to get up. Stay there, Kafele. I'm like, the other, so right side of my brain, stay there. Left side said, you ain't going to sleep. Right. So, that's what it is, man. We left and right be talking to each other, baby. Stay there. You don't have to get up. You got nothing to do. I'm trying to stay here, but I can't sleep. I want to go face the world. Right. So you know your body. Right. And you move accordingly. I got another page for y'all. Y'all know what I got to do. I got to get out there. My plan was to be off of here at 12:30. Oh my God. Right. So let me get off of here. No, the problem is Sheikah didn't give me them directions before I went on. She knew I was doing a PowerPoint. let me get this here. So let me go to this next page, y'all. Let me go to this next page. This the last page, y'all. Last page. And then we done. Where's that share button? Here we go. Where are we at? Here we go. No, that's not the right page. Here we go. Where's the share? Here we go. Share. Hit that share screen button. Window. There it is. Boom. Let's talk about let me get it right now. Let's talk about that plan. I didn't that daily plan, that weekly daily plan. I didn't set this up, and I'm just about done. Right? I didn't set this up in terms of a template for y'all with the plan. I decided I'd just talk it through quickly. Here we are. I'm saying to you, just as a teacher, as I said before, walks into a classroom with a lesson plan, right? And theoretically, and I got to use theoretically because I know I know we all don't do it. Theoretically, we look over the plan. We read the plan. If we need to write on the plan, we do the plan. If we need to critique the plan, we critique the plan. If we need to have a follow-up conversation with the teacher, we have it. But we know that there's some of us, the only reason to send in that plan is for compliance, that they send in a plan. It's a checklist, but we don't know what's in it, right? I mean, that's just real world. I happen to know that, right? So, and then everything in between. So those were two extremes and then everything in between. So here's what I'm saying. You got to have a plan. You can't just walk into your building, right, and respond to the various stimuli that will arise in your building. There'll be stimuli. And when I say stimuli, I don't mean like incidents and situations. I mean, whatever. Could be incidents. In a school in a challenging environment, you could be responding to incidents all day. But if you have planned your life, planned your day, read the room, know your school inside and out, then a lot of those incidents do not have to occur because you can get way ahead of them. And while you're getting way ahead of them because of your ability to anticipate what could happen, coupled with your intentionality of leading the effort of creating a culture within your school that works within your environment. So you got these two things working. This the culture that you're going to give maximum effort to, but then the anticipation of what could go wrong, that you get way ahead of it before it has an opportunity to go wrong or an opportunity to grow. Then even if your school is in a challenging environment where the schools in the vicinity are all dealing with all this non-instructional stuff, your school can be very different from that. And you service in the same environment as the other school, but it's something about your leadership. It's something about your planning. It's something about your anticipation. It's something about your fixation on the culture and the climate of the school, that here you are, your school, the school down the way, the school over the hill, and we all got the same zip code with the same demographic, with the same this and the same that, but there's something so different about your school. And the main thing that's different about your school is that you are in it. That's what makes it different. You are in it. And because you are in it, you have brought your leadership with you. And that place looks different from every other place because you're there. See? So I'm saying all that to say, you've been working or operating from a plan. And I just put a list of times. I'll fill in the blank and then we'll be done. So at 7 o'clock, I don't know what time you arrive. I know there's some schools principals arrive at 6. I never reached that. I never felt I needed to be at the building at 6 o'clock, right? But let's say, for example, 7 o'clock, and you know what 7 o'clock is going to look like for you. 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock. Each of those intervals, you know what's going to happen because you wrote it. You devised it. You wrote a plan that said at 7, this is what I'm doing. And these are just random times. You may use times differently. You might have 7:45, right? You might have 8:10, whatever it is. And then the 8, so I just have round numbers. 9 o'clock, you know exactly what you're doing. 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock, 12, 11:30, 12 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock, all the way to the end of the day. You have planned your day. But Principal Kafele, what if things do happen, right? What if someone makes a surprise visit? Whatever. You have contingencies built into your plan. So you can deviate from your plan, but because you wrote a plan, you can also get back to your plan, right? But like I use that, I said surprise visit. One of the things that I always tell principals, I say this all the time, make sure that your parents are well aware of not what a principal is, but what an instructional leader is. I bet you that the proverbial 99.9% of the parents in your school, unless they have an education administration degree, if you ask them, tell me what instructional leaders do, they're not going to be able to tell you. So therefore, you've got a parent body that doesn't know your job. Now, of course, there are other things you do, but as you've heard me preach for 275 weeks, at the core of your work has got to be instructional leadership. Sheikah and Tammy preach the same thing. Sean preaches the same thing. Right? At the core of your work has got to be instructional leadership. But you got a parent body that may not even know what that means. So therefore, they may not feel the way you would feel if they pop up into your school or if they're bringing their child back from suspension. So now you're going to get ahead of that. That's the anticipation, because you're going to explain the parent at your orientations, at your back to school night, your open house, all that kind of stuff when you got a packed house. So if you new principal on here right now, no, Michael is one, but I'm sure there are others. Like Shanique was on here, but she's AP, but she can talk to the principal. Don't do the traditional open house, back to school night, where the parents come in, they bring their children, they may not, but hopefully they do, and they go right in the building and go follow a schedule. Don't do that. Because then it's a win-lose. The teachers win and you lose as the leader. They need to come in there and come to that large room, the gym, the auditorium, whatever it is, and hear you, the leader, the principal, for an hour. Because I know you got at least 5 hours of things to say. You don't have 5 hours to talk to them. For about an hour. You're going to bypass the head coach, the pastor, right? You're going to bypass that person and just go to the classroom? And we didn't hear what the CEO, the president, has to say. When I say president, I mean president of a company, just to be clear, right? So we didn't hear what, let's just use CEO. I don't want to use the word president. So we didn't hear the CEO today. We just went right to the classroom. Nah, we need to hear from the CEO. So now the CEO, the head coach, in that 1 hour discussion where you got standing room only of parents, hey, parents, I need to explain who I am. You know me as principal, but at the core of my work is what's called instructional leadership. And we have 4 blocks here, or we have 9 periods here, or we're all day elementary. I cannot be out of those classrooms, between being out of those classrooms and work. I don't want to diminish the role of the teacher in the eyes of the parents. I'm not going to say coaching the teachers. I'm going to say spending my time collaborating with the teachers. I'm going to say to the parents, I've got to have my one-on-ones collaborating with the teachers, and I got to be in their classrooms observing their instruction. That's how I got to spend my time. If I'm stuck in my office, trapped in my office with you, the parent, for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, because that happens, 4 hours, then I cannot promise you, guarantee for you the achievement that we shared with you about our goals for this year, because I'm not leading the school in that moment. Let me tell you something. That was my conversation during open house. I'm preaching that sermon. I'm going to deliver as the principal of this school, parent. But if every morning I'm stuck in my office with you, I can't make that promise for all those classrooms in those early periods that I have no relationship with, because students are coming back to school from suspension. So therefore, or you're just popping up. So I'm still an open door policy, but I want you to be mindful of what I do so that we can plan accordingly, so that I can ensure that your child is in the right school that's getting your child ready for the challenges of life in adulthood. Because remember, the pre-K to 12 is a small fraction of his or her life. The huge fraction of their lives is when they leave us after 12th grade. This is me at open house. This pre-K to 12 has to work, parent, or that age 18 through the rest of life could be challenging, overwhelmingly, because we didn't get it right when they were younger. So therefore, parent, I can't be in my office doing some investigation for 3 hours over some mess. So I need you to double up on making sure that your child understands what it means to be in this school, so that I can do my part and our teachers can do their part, so that your child can live his or her own life on his or her own terms. See, that's me at open house amongst everything else I said. There's a whole lot there. I could do a whole session just on my open house, right? But that's I gotta acclimate parent. And I'm gonna tell you something, principal out there, AP out there. You can't be scared of no parents. You just have to know how to talk to them in a way that they hear you. And I might say in a way that they feel you. And I might say in a way that they got your back when the stuff hits the fan. I'll leave that right there, right? But you gotta know how to talk to them so you can make your point without being rude. That's what I mean. Because the way I just said it probably sounded a little rude because I'm not trying to model what I said. I'm trying to tell you what I said, but I wasn't trying to model it, right? But when I said it, just to make it very clear for you, they in the stand saying, "Amen, preach." That's what they're saying. Amen, Kafele, preach Kafele, and they're giving me these ovations, right? So, that's where that was. I'm telling parents things like, I got my guys that have been waiting for your ninth graders, right? We having that, yeah, we going there. They've been waiting for your ninth grade girls, I should say. They've been waiting for them. So parents, here's what I need you to do. I'm going there. That's who I am. But the parents saying, preach, teach, amen. Parent, here's the conversation I need you to have with your daughter. Because I got some guys here that are real handsome, real smooth, and they ain't interested in nothing long term with your daughter. They looking for something short term. So here's the conversation I need you to have. While at the school level, I got some women in place who are going to also have conversation with them. Because I don't want your daughter to make a bad decision when she gets here in ninth grade, first week, and now got to live down the decision every time she walks the hall to go to class, and there's that boy with the cluster of friends who see her, and she knows what they're talking about. That's me at open house, y'all. You can agree with it or disagree with it. I felt like I needed to have the real conversation. Now I must flip it and go to the boy. Hey, mom, I need you to talk to your son. Because I need this young lady to come here focused, but I need your son to come here focused. And I don't want the walk down the hall to be the worst time of the day because you got to walk past groups of kids. They talk. Or some of them in the same class, and now you in the class with them. They talk. I don't want that to be your reality. So at open house, I ain't talking about no textbooks, or back, at least in my day, textbook, or I mean, I'm talking about things that matter, but I don't need to spend all night talking about them things, man. If like late for school, I don't need to preach sermons on being late for school. I'll say that sternly, that you got to be there on time. So I don't have to spend all my time talking about tardiness because I want to get to that other stuff. So that ultimately that culture becomes such that I could follow that script you see on that page. I can do what I said I'm going to do. Not the culture dictate my movements when the culture is counterproductive. I want a positive culture that's conducive to high academic performance, that allows me to be who I need to be as the leader of the school. So that now I could walk into a plan and it says 8 o'clock, I'm gonna do this, 8:30, I'm gonna do that, 9 o'clock, I'm gonna do this, 9:30, I'm gonna do that, and we keep it going. Because now parents understand. My superintendent understands because we had the conversation. My assistant superintendents understand. Let me get closer to my camera because I know I threw somebody off with that one. Hey, y'all, superintendent is my boss, but that doesn't make him better than me. That's just my boss. We can still have a conversation. If you my superintendent, my assistant superintendent, and you don't respect me, that we can have a conversation, then I don't need to be in that district. So we have a conversation, not in front of all the other principals grandstanding. We go into the office. Hey, Doc, when you pull us out to all those meetings, man, I'm missing so much in my building. Let me tell y'all something. Everybody's not going to be able to do this because a lot of it's my personality. But I was able to take my superintendent. I got one in mind, my last one, because that's the last school I led, so it's closer to me. And I was able to convince him that meeting A, meeting B, meeting C, meeting D. Hey, Doc, not at that time, because I got this teacher I'm working with. Oh, okay, Kafele. I understand. Is that a concern of the other principals? I can't speak for them. That's my concern. You pulling me at the wrong time. I'm working with a teacher at this period. I need to be there. Oh, I got you. It's a conversation, y'all. You mean you my boss? I'm the subordinate, you the superior. But at the end of the day, we just two human beings having a conversation, baby. But see, again, y'all, and I know I'm like I'm going around the world right now. I appreciate y'all staying there. That's the book right there. I know I'm on the you seeing me on the small screen. So, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. You got to know how to talk to different people. It's no way in the world that as a principal that you shouldn't be able to talk to your superintendent and have influence over your superintendent and bring your superintendent around to your way of thinking. There's no way in the world. If you don't have that kind of access one-on-one and perhaps able to sway the thinking or perspective, because you're in the building, you know the building better than the superintendent, better than the assistant superintendent, you should be able to have those conversations, but in a way that's cordial. Like, it's not contentious, it's cordial. And then however, whatever the outcome is, what it is, we move forward, right? But at least you have the audacity to engage your superior in a conversation about things that are happening at central office that adversely impact your ability to be successful in your school. You're not going to have that conversation? You're going to come home and scream at your wife or your husband or your significant other? They can't do nothing for you. All they can do is be a sounding board. That's all they can do. That's what my wife was. She sat there and listened. I'm screaming and yelling, right? So I learned over time, I need to be able to talk to people, right? And if you and I can't talk, and some of y'all know my history, then guess what? I'll do just like a basketball. I'll bounce. And I did. I'll bounce. Now, those of you out there that don't know the slang, bounce means leave. I ran up against a superintendent that couldn't hear me. So I did like this. Boom, 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 and wound up somewhere else. And guess what I got somewhere else? Y'all know, the new people don't know, but the others do. Guess what I got when I bounced? The Milken Award. Let me get this thing. Matter of fact, let me come off this screen because I'm kind of done with that part. I'm getting ready to close, y'all. Hey, y'all. You see this thing, man? You see this heavy obelisk? I bounced. I said, I can't work here. This not compatible for me. This is not emotionally healthy for me where I was. So I did like a ball. Boom, boom. I bounced. I went somewhere where they listening to me. I went somewhere where I'm talking to people, right? I went somewhere where I can listen to you. And 5 years in, they said, look at that. It says Milken by the Milk. It says presented to Baruti K. Kafele by the Milken Family Foundation and the New Jersey Department of Education, 2009. Milken. Those of you that don't know the Milken Award, it's referred to as the Oscars of education. It's the biggest award that you can receive in education, right? Google it. But had I stayed where I was, where that relationship wasn't what I needed it to be, this would not have been my reality. I would have stayed somewhere frustrated for the rest of my life, stressed out, but I said, no, there's somewhere, my name is somewhere else. So I left the district. I didn't leave school. I didn't change schools. I left the district and found a district where my name was written on one of them schools. And I got the Milken Award, baby. Look at that thing, man. It's the first time I've ever taken it off the shelf since I've owned it. I got it in 2009. I've never taken it off the shelf, right? This is the first time I've held this thing since I got it, right? So I'm saying to you, I guess I'm as I close, I'm saying a lot of things. I'm saying, going back to the plan your leadership, plan your life, right? Yeah, I did the player move, Mike. Sometimes you gotta let people know, man. You ain't just somebody on here talking, man. Sometimes you gotta let people know, like you done this work, right? Because let me tell you something. Let me y'all put your ear to the screen for a minute. I'm getting ready to go off here, y'all. Y'all don't know the kind of week I had. Flight delays every city, driving, sitting in airports all night, getting like 3 hours sleep, doing full day presentation. It's been a mother with an A, right? So it's been rough. So I'm getting ready to take it down. I might even try to get me a quick mile in, but I'm gonna take it down. I ain't get no exercise in this week. It was one of them kind of weeks. I might try to get a mile in. But sometimes, like it's people that do this work, man. Right? I ain't gonna get deep with this, but they ain't done nothing, man. Right? Like either they haven't done the work or they did the work, but they got no receipts. Right? So I don't talk about my receipts a lot, man. It's in my bio. When they read the bio, they hear the stuff. National Alliance of Black School Educators Hall of Fame, East Orange Hall of Fame, 14 books, turnaround principal, teacher of the year in East Orange, teacher of the year for the school, the district, the county, New Jersey State finalist, teacher of the year. But that's my receipts. But I don't be talking about that. People see me, they don't know what I did. But every now and then, you gotta drop a receipt on them, right? So I got receipts, man. I got the obelisk, man. So every now and then you gotta let people know, like, hold up, pump the brakes. You being disrespectful. you gotta let them know, like, hold up, man, hold up. You ain't done what I've done yet. Just keep that in perspective, right? Enough said. I'm acting crazy. My mother's like, my mother on here like, where is he going with this, man? My wife too. She like, where he going, man? He getting ready to say something he ain't got no business saying. I better call him because I don't like that trajectory that he's on right now. Hey, y'all, listen. I think this was a great session, if I might say so myself. Work on that plan. I gave you 2 parts: the blueprint and then your daily plan. Right? It's not going to look like that with them times you're going to have in there. That's what I forgot to tell you because I got caught up into this. Right? You gotta put your goals. You don't necessarily need a situation analysis in your daily planning. Right? I mean, if you could, that just makes it even better. But make sure you got your goals of what you're going to do. Then you put your times. But then also have a strategy, not as elaborate as your blueprint, but have a plan. But make sure you're being strategic, particularly with your parents, right? Don't write them off. You need them because they're sending their children into the building every day. You need their children who become your children while you're in the school. You need them to ultimately buy into what you're selling. But you're going to need some help. And that help comes from parent reinforcing every day what's required to increase the probability that youngster is living like my definition of success, the ability to live one's own life on one's own terms. But you'll never reach that plateau if you don't understand the importance and significance of school. So it's not just the school that's preaching the sermon and then you go home and the sermon ain't being preached. That sermon's got to be reinforced at home, or we could flip it and say the sermon that's being preached at home is being reinforced in school. But it's got to be that the youngster is surrounded by people singing in the same choir, singing the same song, that education matters. We're not talking about college and all that. We're talking pre-K to 12, education matters. But if the leadership has to be chief cop, chief of police in the building, security in the building, dealing with discipline in the building all day, then we can't get to the part that matters most. And then we see adults who are struggling, who are complaining, man, I wish I could do it all over again. We hear that song every day. Man, if I knew what I know now, I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in now. I want to prevent young people from having to sing that old, tired song. And that's why I got to go hard with parents. That's why I always went hard with parents. I don't mean individual parents. I mean that collective. I mean, yes, individual parents, but that collective body when I got them all in the room, and I'm going to speak truth to power to the parents. Hey, y'all, I saw the emojis, but I'm literally going to ask you on this one. If today's session, if it was worthwhile, beneficial, if it was useful, if you could gain something from it, if it's something that you can implement into your leadership, hit me up with them emojis. Let me know. Right, that way I know how to plan in the future. Right, hit me up with them emojis. If today, even if you already started, because I wasn't really looking at the time because I was still trying to wrap up. But if I said anything, if like Sean Hurt says, if I was talking good today, hit me up with them emojis, man. Let me know. That's my data. Right, everything needs data. That's my evaluation. I don't mind telling you to evaluate me. So that's my evaluation. If it didn't, then put a thumbs down, right? Put a thumbs down. So it sucked today, Kafele. You need to take a nap. You weren't yourself today. Don't judge me on the PowerPoint though, right? It would have been better if you knew how to work that PowerPoint. No, I don't know how to do that, man. I see them emojis, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate the love. Check this out. While you're giving me the emojis, let me close us out, y'all. I went way longer than I planned. It's 2 hours and a half. Somebody said, man, when this guy gonna shut up? Man, listen, next week, I got my brother coming on, y'all. Y'all don't want to miss next week. Next week, I don't know if I'm gonna get a chance to talk next week. That's probably why I'm talking right now. I don't know if he's on here right now, but I don't know if I'm gonna get a chance because this dude is my brother, man. Dr. Salone Thomas L., known as Principal L out of Philly. Been in Delaware for a little while, but he ain't claiming Delaware. He's Philly, man. So he'll be my guest. He wrote this book. He wrote a lot of books, but this book here is his new one, Meet Their Needs and They'll Succeed. Put it a little closer to the camera. You know that name right there? Baruti Kafele wrote the forward, right? So he and I are gonna go one-on-one next week, man. Man, I might just sit here like this. Let him just take over. I'll be sitting here. We're gonna have a good time, man. That's my brother, man. We've been knowing each other for a long time, right? So we're gonna have a good time. So join me next week at 10:55. Me and Principal L gonna be in the building one-on-one. But before we come on, 10 o'clock, Sean Hurt. These are all Facebook Live Eastern time. 10 o'clock, Sean Hurt, followed by Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor, followed by, I don't know why I read these notes when I read that to y'all. Let me just look at the screen. It ain't like I don't know it by heart. And then followed by the AP and New Principles Academy at 10:55 with yours truly. And then Sunday, the PGP podcast with Josh Tovar and Dr. Madi Moreno, right? But tomorrow, Body won't be there. They'll have a substitute. Dr. Sheikah Houston will be in the building as the co-host. So I'll be watching. Nah, I got a flight to California, man. If I can watch, I'll be watching it. Some of the Wi-Fi's don't allow Facebook video. Some do, but I'll be on. Hey, folks in Tulare, California, Monday. I see you Monday. And then Kansas City, the entire district convocation, Kansas City, Missouri. I see you Tuesday. Prince George's County, Maryland administrators, I see y'all Wednesday. Battle Creek, Michigan, administrators, I see y'all Thursday. And then Fort Myers, Florida, I see y'all on Friday. So you know who I'm counting on with all that kind of travel. The flight guides, baby. The flight guides. Flight guides, just get me through, man. This is gonna be the busiest week of the summer because it's going coast to coast. It's going west coast to east. So this is going to be a rough one. I want to get through it, right? So let's see. I don't want to drive nowhere, right? So let's see what happens. Other than that, y'all, make sure that you get a copy of the new book, What is My Value? Instructions to the Teachers I Supervise. If you don't have it, just go on to Amazon now and get yourself a copy, or go to ascd.org, or you can go to principalkafele.com and it'll link you to either Amazon or ASCD. It's up to you. But get yourself a copy. Subscribe to the AP and New Principals Academy YouTube channel. Any videos you've missed, they're all there. We're at like 24,200 subscribers, might be 300 now, but 24,000, man, woo, it's a lot of people. Everywhere I go, man, there's people in them audiences like, man, I'm part of the fam, Kafele. Some of them were like, I see the flight guides was helping you. I'm like, wow, you really fam, man. You know about that? They said, lady said to me the other day, I see the flight guys got you here on time, right? So, when you hear that language, then you talking about fam, So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you watch your diet, your exercise, your virus precautions. Visit principalkafele.com all the time. So much on there to check out. It's free, right? So just check us out. But other than that, y'all, I appreciate you staying on with me for daggone near 3 hours. Oh, my God. Yeah, that must mean I'm tired, right? Running my mouth. Hey, y'all, have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist all the way back. Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Bam! I see y'all next Saturday with my brother, Dr. Salome Thomas L. Peace.